They have to do A again.
And they have to redo all the stuff.
Yeah. They've already done the test.
So they're gonna have one day break.
If they want it that day,
For the night clerk pays the $20 deposit again.
well, it's 40 for the year, and for
Okay, that's fine.
they're asking 40, but they said you have kids that want to do 20 and 20.
Okay.
Right. The eighth graders, whatever, the ninth is already done. Teacher.
So the eighth grade will get there. And that means they won't
However your school winds up doing the money, you won't have to miss it. Even if they come into the library and pay, you won't be the one receiving it. You'll be checking them out.
Because we did last summer.
Did you write receipts? Hopefully you, well, and you know, we needed a lot of people. We had quite a few when we did it last year, but we just need a lot of people. And that's what we talked about bringing in.
She told me that they want to pay the money. Yeah, that your fellows live on the teachers will supply a list of students that have paid, and then she will go through the listing. And
Yeah. So, yeah, just be. And also, while we're talking about Chromebooks, if, you know, if the kids come to you if something happens and you can give them a spare if they have to pay the repair or but wait until all yours are given out until, and you don't have to call them and tell them, just put in a ticket and say, we're out of spares at whatever. But you know, before 5 or 6 left, you know, err on the side of caution. You just go ahead and let them know we're getting low or we only have space left.
One more thing about the Chromebooks. Last year, because I was in a hurry and we had so many issues, every time I would put it listed there under a barcode, but then there's a barcode. I'm going to start name that is drained or whatever is destroyed. The information attached to the student and so that's what I've been doing. Every time somebody came in and had an issue, I would go to the entry in their account and what was going on with their Chromebook. And this was supposed to yes. The own student name. Yes.
We'll talk before we all leave, but let me go ahead and talk. I learned about Miss Nikki Robertson a few years ago when we were trying to do the CCRS stuff. You know, I was trying to get ready, and we were getting ready to try to get our teachers ready. And her name kept coming up. I kept looking at these blogs, and it was like that. Nikki Robertson from Alabama. They once a week hosts a teacher librarian chat.
I'm going to show them at the end. There's a first, second Monday, and third Monday. There's specific things that are for teacher life.
And they get from all over the world about being a teacher and a librarian. And I've learned with my hard head. You know, that's how you know, it's more than workshops ever. Just talk. I know that too from hanging out, you know, sessions like this. So she's spearheaded that and keeps that deadline, which is a PD day. You show up and you write your paper what you talk about. you know, and everybody, when everybody gets there, and it's just very organic, and again, it's what you need when you need it. And she was Hoover and Lacey and Asla and APC got flipping your class. This cool stuff on Twitter. I'm the Twitter person I am. So, but you are, and getting the word out about what wonderful we're doing. We're preaching that to the administrators, so hopefully everybody can get on, you know, get in the habit of it. Let people know what's going on. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Nikki Roberts.
Thank you all. I was trying to think, where can I go where I'm not getting anybody's view here? But I'm so excited to be here in Lauderdale County and talking librarians. This is my first year since 1997. It's the weirdest feeling in the world because I just got married this summer, moved to Huntsville, got a job in Limestone County at Elkmont High School, and I'm their technology facilitator. We're rolling out MacBooks to the kids, but I'm excited about your Chromebooks because I love Chromebooks. And matter of fact, Hoover last year, we went one-to-one with iPads, and then because of that god-awful iOS 7 update, it was a mess. And so about halfway through the year when that update came out, they were like, and so they did away with the iPads and are going Chromebook. You guys are doing exactly the same thing Hoover's doing down there near Birmingham. I love the Chromebooks myself. I'm a big Google everything Google does. This is a Google presentation. I love to carry a memory stick. I don't have to. Now, is that video in the same file that I have my PowerPoint in? Have you ever had to say it in our eye contact way? So I'm going to just read. There we go. All right. So, I just love it because you can get to it anywhere. I could fly to China right now with just what I'm wearing and be able to pull up this presentation. As long as I have access to the internet, I have all my stuff. Also, when I was working in Auburn, and then I'll stop preaching about Google, get on with the presentation, we got a really bad virus on our servers. Wiped out teachers' files, all of our stuff. If you've been teaching 23 years like me and you put all your stuff on the network server and then it gets wiped out and you lose everything, it's not very exciting. It'll make you cry. And I had teachers crying and students had to turn in and it was gone. I didn't lose any of my stuff because it was a trust servers. I know this, but this is so exciting. Books and part of that, but then to remain relevant. And I actually was out this year, and had a principal ask me, well, now that you're getting technology in the schools, right? And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm drinking right now because I would hurt you. So on news about it, and that kind of went 20 years. This is my 23rd year teaching. I've got a place I never was 7th and 8th grade. Because those people are crazy. And 8th grade, God bless you. I could not do it. I say they're like little mental patients. You know, their chemistry is off. They're chemically unbalanced. It's just, okay, whatever they do. So this picture I'll tell you about in just a little bit, but it was so much fun. You might see there's Jennifer Lagarde, who's a library girl. Andy Flemons in Georgia. There's Matthew Winter, who's one taking the longest for the selfie. So back to school, guys. How is it to be going back to school? That means to play since I can't see it. There we go. Uh-oh. There's no sound? Darn it. Down, Carol. Carol, we need sound. Let's see. Is it this one? Well, poop. All right. Well, that was the song. Well, I think we all know it. But this is how I feel at the beginning of a new school year. I feel so happy and excited to be going back to school because it's a fresh new things that I haven't done in the past. Now I've learned to do, but I now have the opportunity to go ahead and apply some of those new things I've been learning. So we're going to talk about what excites you about the new school year, and we're going to put it into if you'll go ahead and on your devices, if you have them, I want you to write in something that excites you about this school year. And we're going to do this a couple of times. All of the times we do it, the beginning will be exactly the same. That's http://goo.gl/ and then we've got 3 capital Z, capital E, lowercase a, lowercase h, and lowercase r. So if you have your device, go ahead and do this. And this is something you can do with your kids is you pull everywhere. If they have phones with them, even if they don't have their Chromebooks, they can do it on a Chromebook or they do it with a cell phone. It replaces those clickers you have. I don't know if y'all have clickers. That's a lot of money. And it takes a lot of time to set those dang clickers up. But you can just use the kids' cell phones and do a pull everywhere super fast. So I forgot to bring this up. Let me sign in to Pull Everywhere. Are y'all familiar with Pull Everywhere? It's super easy and fast. I used to do that in the library. Every year I would find out what genre, and I would just use Pull Everywhere. Okay. Oh, come on. Don't you love slow internet? Well, right. When we were doing the parent meeting with for the 3rd and 4th grade parents who will be getting the MacBooks, one of the things we tell them is to be patient with the computer, that, you know, if something doesn't happen right away, don't go beating the buttons. But I'm one of those people at the elevator, I'm like, hurry up, why is the door not opening the minute I push it? And then I'm one of those tappers, I'll hit that enter button a million times. So, that's what you do to me. We'll come back and look at that, but that's a way for you to be able to generate some answers in the way that it was set up. So that ended question, let's see, that the students can simply write in any answer. You can set it up with choices. You're going to see later on I've got some different star choices, and whenever that gets done spinning, we'll come back and revisit that. So while I'm talking, if you hadn't had a chance, write down some of the things you're excited about for this new school year. All right, let's talk about Jennifer Lagarde and the Zombie Librarians. You know what? I really do need that sound, but that's okay. I can do that. All right, so Jennifer Lagarde, I got the opportunity to go to ISTE this summer and the Librarians breakfast, and afterwards we took this selfie, kind of like what Ellen did at the, what was it, the Emmys that she did that, or the Grammys, somewhere where Ellen DeGeneres did her thing. And we all vowed to be zombie librarian fighters. We're going to make sure that we went out and we spread the word and we made sure to get the zombie librarian fighter out of there. And the reason we did this is because of this map. And this map doesn't even show everything. It kind of looks like the South is free of the problems that are going on all over, but we know that that's not true, because we're going to come back to that in a minute. If we look at the state of Alabama school libraries, guys, we're entering our 9th year of zero funding for libraries, okay? What this means is the students that will graduate this school year have had no books or by the State Department since they were in the 3rd grade. They have not had a new book from the State Department since they were in the 3rd grade. We lost our aides. About 2 years ago, most everybody lost their aides unless your principal allocated money out of his funding for the school to continue to pay for an aide. Here we still have aides, but this school year, at the end of last school year, our aides got fired because we didn't have the money anymore. How can we do our job without our aides? We need our aides. And so somewhere along the way, we're not seen as important and valuable, because if we were seen as important and valuable, they would fund us and they would supply us with the staff that we needed. So going back to this, and I did have, since we don't have sound, I'll tell you about it, but, oh well, I'll tell you about it, but I will have the presentation out on Twitter, and you can click on each of their pictures if you want to listen to the conversation. But Alyssa Mouse from New Jersey, the librarian in New Jersey, is really trying to get me hooked on Voxer. Have you heard of Voxer? It's an iPhone app, kind of like a walkie-talkie thing. I don't really like it because it reminds me of voicemail, and I won't even check my own voicemail. I'm like, if you're going to call me, please don't leave a voicemail, just text me. But then this whole Voxer thing came along, and right now I'm on a group with Jennifer Lagarde and Alyssa, and we kind of give each other pep talks back and forth because all 3 of us have entered new jobs this year. This is at the district level now over Librarians and Technology. Jennifer Lagarde, you know, for the past 2 years has been traveling all over North Carolina. 4 nights a week she'd be sleeping in hotels because she was traveling for 2 years. I was like, I don't know how you did it. But now she's going to be in a high school library this year and finally settled. And then I moved to technology. So we all support each other with Voxer. But also, they form these groups and they'll ask a question. And this question came from PT Chat, which is Parent-Teacher Chat that Alyssa runs. And the question she put out was about libraries. And this principal, Jay, his response is chilling and scary to librarians. He basically said that they don't want their librarian. She's basically a zombie librarian. She doesn't do anything in the library. That the only reason they have a librarian, 10% librarian, they only have 10% time librarian, is because if they don't have that 10% librarian, they don't get state funding. The only reason they do it is for the money. The time that she's not there, they completely utilize that space. It is used all the time. They love using the library space. They're constantly doing projects and technology stuff and research and all kinds of things that should have been taking place with that librarian leading the charge, but she wasn't. And then Jennifer's response, then we passed that Voxer on. We said, hey, Jennifer needs to hear what this principal said about the librarian. And Jennifer's response is very chilling too, because she says, you know, guys, with what Jay was saying, the way it sounds to me is even if he had somebody like Gwyneth Jones, the daring librarian, or Shannon Miller, or a Lagarde, even if he had one of them, he wouldn't want them because he doesn't see the need for a librarian anymore. That's scary. It's really scary, but it's what's happening all over our nation right now is they're looking for ways to cut budgets, and if they don't see you as an integral part of that, that's us. I mean, I was thinking when I was at Hoover, holy crap, if they got rid of our aide, how long is the second librarian going to be around? You know, how long are they going to pay for that? I had to look at that. So I'm not the one watching you, but the world is actually watching you because they're looking for those budget cuts. So today, your digital footprint. And what does your digital footprint say about you? Because most of the time, anybody comes to see you, it's that teacher that walks in between classes, and they walk in and go, I sure do wish I could be in here quiet. you must have so much fun just sitting around here in the quiet all day. And you want to reach out and just choke the life out of them, right? You're like, no. Did you just see the horde of children that left before you came in? And do you see all these books that have to get back on the shelf? They don't see all that, okay? So we have to put out there what we're doing. And if we're not, then they have that perception that you're not doing anything. I've had kids and say, you don't have to have a college degree to do this job, do you? And I'm like, hello? Okay, first off, we had in Alabama, we had to have a bachelor's degree in teaching, have teaching experience, then go back and get a specialized master's education, right? And then they're like, I actually had one teacher say, I'm so tired of being in the classroom. I think I'll go back and get my library degree. I'm like, honey, you're just adding to your worries. You know, you don't just put a kid in your classroom in the school. That's all the administrators. You just think. So what we have to start doing is telling our story, letting people know what it is we do and why. So some of the questions I was asking for a good digital footprint are, let's start right there with your school's homepage, your website for your school. First library link even on your school's homepage. If it's that say about how the library school, okay? When it clicks on that library link, what will they see? When someone clicks on the library link, what will they see as your connections and teachers beyond simply resources? As resources are out there, resources, be curating resources. And then when somebody clicks on the library link, what will they see your role for empowering students and teachers? Right now, we've got to come out to be leaders. We have to learn and empower teachers to learning, and we can't do that until we become masters of our own learning. And so we'll look at that as well. Just if we can ever get into pull everywhere. We're going first to look at Andy Clemens' school website, and we're going to just talk about in the digital footprint. So let's see if we can get this to come up. All right, and while that's doing that, let's see if this came up. Let me log in to this. I can tell you first using him as an example. Right. It was like, oh my, that was good. Oh, the fun we have. All right, let's get into this real quick. Fast internet. Comes the password game. No, what the heck's my password? All right, that's still loading. Loading. I can tell you that Andy does while this loads is he connects his an elementary librarian in Georgia. Connects his students with what he does. And so one thing I would do and rating your teachers, how do you connect your and they're not school walls beyond just because guys, we get pigeonholed into this thing, and this little group or our little district does everything, and we don't get out of that. And so how can we learn to do things if we put ourselves out there to see the different things? See what I'm saying? One thing, I don't know if you know, 97 works for high school in Phoenix, take days off all the time to go visit other libraries outside of our district to see what they were doing. and that's one of the best things you can do. And this is a way field trip is to go visit other libraries. I do that too. I'll go out there and do slow internet. Grr. Let's see. Really? Right. Oh. Do you right here, Media Center, which I need a cast item for not having. Because, guys, it was probably 8-9 years ago that station back to being librarians instead of media specialists. So we really need to update that if we haven't updated that, and make sure they're called librarians and libraries. Dang it all. All right, this has to be a look at it yourself. He's got one of the first things I notice on his page is that his page, it's not his yearbook photo that's there, you know, the nice little page. That's not what's on there. What he has is pictures of himself with the kids and working with the kids. And then all down along the side, he has links to the different things he does. He does have a resource link. That's still important to curate and have those resources for your teachers and for your kids. But he also has the projects he's done for his kids. And if you click on Andy's picture right here, and again, this will all have to be later. If you click on Andy's picture here, you'll see that one of his projects that he did with second graders this past year, History Month, researched a famous African American and then designed a stamp. And then they used Flipgrid, which is an iPad or iPhone app. Are you familiar? And you can do it on the computer as well. Flipgrid. And it's really cool. As her as the teachers, you propose the question to the kids, and then the kids respond with a video response. And so they actually had to orally the test using Flipgrid. Did is the kids research the second graders. So he's teaching the research. Okay. Let's throw out worksheets. Let's not make library torture. Okay. So in real time, they were researching something real. Then they designed a postage stamp, and then they went to the computer where he had the Flipgrid set up, and they knew how to press the button to start recording themselves. And they would show you their little picture of their postage stamp and tell you why you should vote for their person to be the postage stamp that was the postage stamp for Black History Month. And they told you about their research and their reasoning why they think their person would be the best one. Guys, that's second graders. And then he posted the Flipgrid to Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus and onto his website and had the world vote on what it was going to be. So they weren't just presenting for him. It was that in the library thing. It was out there for the whole world to see and to look at and to vote, interact with those kids. And that's really awesome. I love what he did there. So personally, with everything that he has in there, I would rank Andy on a level 5. I would definitely say 5. Of course, if you want to be one of those people that say there's always room for improvement, then I would say 4. So because there is always room for improvement, but I don't know how Andy could improve more than what he does. And if the internet were working fast enough, we would have had you look at his site and had you rank it on a scale of 5. Okay, but this again is a poll everywhere. Now, Auburn High School, Middle School. I picked on them, and the only reason I picked on them is this is Auburn, Nebraska, and I got a speeding ticket. This summer, I got married in Iowa while I was visiting my daughter in Kansas. Here's his website. And so as I was driving back from Iowa, I had to go through this little bit of Nebraska. And while I was driving through Nebraska, I got a speeding ticket like 30 minutes after I got married. So I'm really mad at them. So I said, who do I want to use as an example? And I said, let's use, where'd I get this ticket? Okay, Auburn, Nebraska. Let's look up their schools in Nebraska. So that's how I came about that. But here's Andy's right here. I'm so cruel, right? But see, here's all his stuff. Plus, he has a blog, and we'll talk about blogging later because I think that's one of the most important things you can do. Here's his student projects. Here's an oral history project that he did where the students went out and recorded people in their communities. And so all his stuff and the way he's connected with students is right there for you to see. Anybody in the world, even if they've never heard of Georgia before, much less where he lives, or this school, or Andy, they would know very quickly by looking at this site exactly what integral role he plays in his school and school district. All right, so Auburn, here's their media center, so they are on the front page, and if I click on their media center, what do we see? Well, we see it spinning and spinning and spinning. So, while we're doing that, okay, here we go. So we see right here, well, they got some book ideas. They want to have a discussion topic, but look at this. What year is that? They haven't updated it since 2011, and if you looked at it more, there's only 4 responses, and 2 of them are from the librarian who put something on there. Announcements. Oh, and then what's first you see? Zombie librarians have the rules everywhere because it's all about what you're not allowed to do. So rules are not a good thing. And then they do have, I mean, rules are necessary, but they shouldn't be the first thing people will find out about your library or see as they're walking into your library. Website links. So again, they've curated, they've provided links here, but then there's really nothing else here. There's nothing that's going to show you what role they play in the school or why they're important or why you should invest money in here or what they're doing for kids or what they do for teachers. So they got. So if I were to rate this school, they do have something there. They did try to do something. I mean, they've got their rules up. They tried to start a discussion question. But, you know, honestly, guys, I would rank them down here. I didn't see pictures of any of the librarians. I didn't see pictures of the kids. I don't know any activities that they're doing with the kids. I don't know what they're doing in that library. And so, will your superintendent know what you're doing in that library? No. Will your principal know? No, they don't really wander down to the library very often. And will your parents know what you're doing in your library? Would your community members know? Would the legislatures who are making the laws and deciding whether we get money or not know if you're doing anything in your library worth funding? They wouldn't know. So that's why I would give that a lower rating. Now here's the hard thing. Taking a look at yourself. I spent 2 days this summer at a workshop that was all about looking at yourself because you can't really be an effective leader if you aren't willing to look at yourself and see the flaws that need to be fixed and know what personality you are so that then you know how to interact with other people that might be a different personality than you. Because let's face it, we have to be everybody's friend in the library even if we can't stand that person walking down the hall towards us, right? We have to treat everybody the same and we are everybody's friend, and that's a hard thing to do for some people. So we had to look inward. So what I want you to do is look inward right now at your school library webpage, and I'm going, if it will let me, I'm going to do the same thing. Now, I did just move. Well, it'd help if I could spell my own school. Gee whiz. All right, Elkmont High School. So I'm going to do it as well, and if you have your device, if the internet will let us, I want you to do it as well, too. And I'm going to close some of these other, because that might help close it. I'm one of these million tabs open people. And so I'm going to go to Elkmont High School. Now, of course, I'm not the library anymore. I'm doing DPI, which is Digital Passport Initiative, which is what they're calling our MacBook rollout. So again, if it's going to let you go over to that site, and let's start looking at our digital footprint. What is it that people would see or know about you just based on looking at your school's website? Because again, if you're not putting it out there and talking about it, nobody knows it exists. All right, so here's DPI website. It's on the front page of the school website. And we wait. All right, and this is, I made this with Weebly. Are y'all familiar with Weebly? I love some Weebly. Is it not the most easy world? It's the only thing of Google I don't like is their website builder. I don't like Google Sites. It's clunky, hard to use. We click and drag, drop and drag. I love it. So right here you can see is our Digital Passport Initiative. We had our parent meetings. Here's the letter to the parents. We're getting ready for rollout day. The day the kids get their laptops is September 10th. And so this is rollout day or leading up to rollout day. So I have the invitation that we're sending out to all the parents and to dignitaries that we're going to invite, because we're going to do something kind of cool. We're have the stage set up like at graduation time, have all the kids there, have the band playing as everyone enters, because it's a K-12 school, so we've got the band there and everything. And we're going to have the kids sitting down, and we'll call their name. You know, they'll all stand up in the little row and walk up, and they'll call their name, and they'll walk across the stage. And we've got the little bag that their computer's in, and we'll put the bag over their neck because we're teaching them the proper way to carry it so it doesn't fall on the floor. And, you know, they'll get that and do the handshake and walk back down and sit down. So we're going to make a big old deal out of it. But I've been taking pictures all along. I'm crazy picture taker. I will take pictures up to 50 to 101 a week in my library or whatever I'm doing. I take pictures. I tweet like crazy. We developed a hashtag for my school. And so I am constantly advertising and talking about what it is we're doing in school. I'm constantly celebrating what we're doing, not just what I'm doing, but what we as a school are doing. Because it's not me, it's about the school, it's about the kids, it's about the teachers, it's about the programs that we're doing. I also have resources curated. This would be Pinterest here, so it might be blocked, or maybe it's just not coming up. Oh, yeah, there we go. So I have some Pinterest pages here, digital citizenship and MacBook tips, but I also started an Elkmont High School resources Pinterest page. So as our teachers start getting into technology more, if they find a really cool website, I could add them as a pinner, or they can just email me the link, and then I can pin it onto that Pinterest board, but then everybody has access to that shared resources. We started that at Hoover because they got really into the iPads and using the iPads with almost 300 teachers and almost 3,000 kids at that one school, 9 through 12. The emails got to be a nightmare as people would find stuff. Oh, I found this. Email everyone in the school. I found this. Email everybody in the school. And we're like, you got to stop. The emails are killing us. And so we came up with doing Pinterest because I love Pinterest. I get all my recipes from there. And the arts and crafts that look so easy to do until you actually do them. Right? It's like, it's so easy that to do it, and 6 months later you're still, oh my God, I can't do this. All of our documents that the parents would need are here and also translated into Spanish. Guys, did you know Google will translate your documents for you? Did you know that? It's so awesome. So I made all my stuff in Google, and then you to the top and you click translate, and you have like ton of different languages. You've seen it, right? And then you just click that and it translates it for you. It's like, yeah, here's my Spanish stuff, and just put the link right up there. So I have there, and then I have a contact us page. Come on. so that if our parents have any questions, they'll know right where to go and how to contact us as well. And the other thing I've done is I've also started a blog on this same page, and I kind of repeat what's on this blog, on my personal blog, and a newsletter. So as soon as that comes up, I'll show that to you as well. So there's our questions. And then here's the blog that's for everybody in Limestone County, all the technology facilitators to be able to add to. And so like this past Friday, I did this, and this is something I did with my personal blog when I was at Hoover that I really liked and wish I had done it long before then. You know, it took me till I was 22 years in before I realized to do that at Hoover, and I'm going to continue at Elkmont. I'm going to do a This Week At. So at Hoover, it was This Week At the library at HHS. Friday or Saturday, I'd sit down and I'd go through my phone or my iPad, all the pictures I had taken that week. And I would also look at the calendar and see what I had done that week on the calendar. Sometimes I'd sit down to start writing it, and I'd say, we didn't do anything this week. I don't know what I'm going to write in the blog this week. But then I'd start looking back through the calendar and looking back through the pictures, and I'd say, oh, that's right, we did this, and oh, we did that. Because we underestimate what it is we do too sometimes, because it's such a blur as we're doing it, that when we sit down and think about it, we're like, well, I didn't really do much. But when you take time to reflect, it really is a lot. Flickr account, so I can upload those 100-something pictures I take every week. And so I take every picture and I make an album for it and put it on Flickr so that everything we've done that week is up there for anybody to have access to. So I've got the slideshow of the week, talk about the parent meetings. I have in here, this is the slideshow that we did for the parent meeting, telling them about the MacBooks. And I like doing this, celebrating our accomplishments. This is going to be something we can celebrate the different accomplishments, because this is a school and a school district new to technology, and technology is scary. It's scary to teachers because with that technology, they have to give up a lot of control. You know, they're not going to be the sage on stage thing like what I'm doing right now. They're no longer the keepers of all the information, and the kids are waiting for, here, I'll tell you the information. You know, with my 3.5-year-old grandson, if he asks me, why is the sky blue, I don't have to say, well, honey, I don't know, has your science teacher taught you why the sky is blue yet? Well, you'll just have to wait till you get to that in science, because she's the only one who can tell you, right? We can have this technology, and we can answer any of the questions we want to. By having that technology, we don't have to wait for the teacher to tell you that information anymore. So it's going to completely revolutionize and change the role of the teachers, and that's scary. So I like to celebrate the things that our teachers are doing, and because that encourages them. Even if it's something tiny, small, to them it's big. To them it's huge. And this is what I tell my teachers. I know I love technology. I'm seen as like a technology expert, which I really don't feel I am, because I see other people out there that are way expert, you know, and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing so good. But I tell them, technology to me is like if you were to me at the beginning of the school year and tell the entire faculty, including me, we're all going to start speaking Chinese and doing everything in Chinese starting tomorrow. Okay. First off, I don't speak Chinese. I can't read it. But I have to do my lesson plans. I have to teach my lessons. Everything I do from now on out has to be in Chinese. And I better learn it or I'm not going to have my job. Right? That's scary. But that's how these teachers see technology a lot of times. And so we need to understand and feel that thing that they're feeling as well. So I explain it to them that way. I completely understand. So I look for even the little tiniest things, whatever I can do to celebrate what it is that they're doing. And then I made a newsletter that I send out to my teachers with S'more. Have y'all heard of S'more? It's a really cool, simple to use little newsletter. S'more, really pretty flyers. You can actually click on different things. And so here's the first day of school. Here's more information. I'm giving my teachers a technology comfort survey. How do you feel about these different things? What's your expertise on different things? I've got that little feeling chart here so that they they can say, I feel like I'm going to throw up. And then announcing our hashtag. It's really important to have that hashtag for your school, because if you don't shout from the rooftops what you're doing in your school, nobody is going to know. And so you need to make sure that you celebrate everything that you're doing in your school. It's getting that story out there and letting other people know your story as well. All right. So based on that, I've got a lot to still do because I'm just getting this started. So based on that, you know, I'd rank myself right here probably a 3 or a 2 because I have a lot more to do. I don't have a lot where I've interacted with the kids. We haven't really done any global projects. I haven't connected them globally yet. So what can I do to do that? Dot Day is coming up on September 15th. You've got digital, what's that, Digital World Day or something? I don't know. Some digital day in October. I'll have to, what is it?
It's
Something close to that, yeah, in October. So that's all coming up. So based on that, look at it yourself. We're not going to do it up here, obviously, because the internet is not moving fast enough. But rank yourself. And if you rank yourself a 1 or a 2, there's nothing wrong with that. All that is a baseline to let you know where you need to go from there, right? The baseline to let you know where you need to go from there and what you can do, and there's great examples out there as well. This is what I did last year with my personal blog. I always did a picture at the beginning of that week of my calendar because people think we do nothing in the library, and we had 6 or 7 different spaces in the library that could be reserved by teachers, and so each one of those is color-coded, and so everybody could always see every single week what it was that I was doing and what the library was doing and how we were interacting and working with teachers. Complete transparency. Gwyneth Jones wrote a really great blog post about transparency is the new black. So if you haven't read that, that'd be a really good read. So let's get into this about the whole blogging, because I've spent quite a bit of time about blogging. We talked about the website, but blogging really is where it's at, because we don't learn from our experiences. We actually learn when we stop and reflect on those experiences. Think back to when you were in college, or if you've had some student aides lately, or interns. What's the one thing they have to do over and over and over again while they're in student teaching? Reflections. Until they just will kill somebody if they have to do one more reflection. So why is it the minute we get into the library or into our classroom, we stop reflecting on our professional practice? We can't learn, we can't grow, we can't improve, we can't become better if we stop reflecting. And that's one of the things I like about writing the blog every week is not if anybody reads it, because I don't care about that. It's about me being able to reflect on what I did that week, what I can do better, what I can do different, what I want to make sure I do again, what I thought was really cool that I'd like to share with other people, because the only way I know anything that I do, sure enough, wasn't from library school and college, right? We learned how to catalog books. We learned the Dewey Decimal System. And Jennifer Lagarde at ISD during the breakfast says, you know, guys, don't kill me, but the Dewey Decimal System is not a life skill. It's not a Common Core standard. The kids are going to be just fine if they don't know the Dewey Decimal System. Okay? So really, cataloging your books, that has nothing to do with the kids. Book repair, did y'all have that course? I had it. Book repair, what does that have to do with services to kids? You know? It doesn't. And so the things I learned in college really didn't help me at all. It's connecting with other librarians, reading their blog posts and their tweets and what they're doing in their library that has influenced me. This is a really good video if you haven't seen it, and I'm not going to play it again because we don't have any sound. And I normally bring speakers, and I didn't bring speakers today. But this is obvious to you, amazing to others. And basically what it goes through and says is, we're a really bad character of our own ideas. Has anyone seen this video? says we're a really bad character of our own ideas, that everybody looks at their ideas and thinks, oh, this is just ordinary. There's nothing really special about my ideas. Anybody would know how to do this. But then he also goes on to say that famous rock stars, some of their most famous songs, some of the biggest hits, they say, oh, I really didn't even think that song was that good. We're bad judges of our own character, of our own ideas. And, you know, you read what somebody else has done and go, oh, that's a brilliant idea. Why didn't I think of that? And I do that all the time when I'm out reading blogs of other librarians. I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't even know I could do that with my library. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this and this to make it even a little bit better, you know? And what he says is he didn't realize what blogging was all about and his ideas, and he didn't think his ideas were anything very special, that thought they were just very ordinary, until one day he got an email from somebody saying, wow, your idea was brilliant, thank you. You know, and then he's like, what? No, I've been doing that the last 20 years. It's just something that, you know, it's nothing extraordinary, but it was to the person who was reading it, because they had never seen it from that perspective or that viewpoint before. Because, let's face it, all we have is our life experiences to go on. But think about if we got 1,000 people's life experiences to go on, and bringing all that power and all that energy into our libraries and for our kids and our teachers. How incredible is that? So I would definitely watch that video. Guys, I know change is hard. Oh my gosh, do I know change is hard? I've been through change. Married, got a new job, moved, got a new grandbaby. It's been really crazy. Change is hard, but it's easier when you connect and work with others. And here's where I get a little bit weepy, and you'd think I'd be over it by now because I talk about it, but it's really, it touches me emotionally. Where can you connect with other like-minded people? I'm going to tell you guys, Twitter is where it's at for me. I love all this other stuff, and we'll talk about this in just a minute. But in 2010, I was at a crossroads. I could retire in 8 years. I had started connecting. I connected with, actually it started with a QR code. QR codes came out. I was like, oh, what's a QR code? I was seeing them in the magazines we were getting into the library, and I was like, well, what is that? And so I started researching it. And then I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder how they work. And then I started discovering that there were librarians and teachers who had been using QR codes for 2 years already. And I got mad. I was like, well, how the heck do I not know about QR codes and how to use them in my library? My school districts never told me anything about QR codes. Well, guess what, guys? We're all alone in the libraries. Most of us, we're the only somebody in the school who does what we do. Do you think the school district is really going to invest the money to have PD just for us? Not very often, like maybe today, right? But everything else, you sit there and sit through, it has nothing to do with you. Most of the staff development and PDs and faculty meetings have nothing to do with us. So we can't sit back and wait for our schools or our school district to bring us our professional development. We have to feel empowered to go out and seek that professional development on our own. So I started looking into it and got connected with Shelly Terrell. Y'all know Shelly Terrell? If you don't know Shelly Terrell, she's amazing. She does this 30 boot camp, 30 goals. And in the 30 goals, you don't have to do them in order. You don't even have to start at the beginning of the school year. You just jump in where you can. One of the things she did was say to get on #EdChat on Twitter. I started getting on Twitter, and oh my God, guys. When I first got on Twitter, I felt so inadequate. I remember I started crying, and I said, I'm a horrible librarian. I've been a horrible educator all this time. I haven't been serving my kids. These other people out here are doing these incredible things that I don't even think, given the, 100 years, I could even begin to measure up to someone like Gwyneth Jones or Jennifer Lagarde or Shannon Miller. How could I even do anything close to what they're doing? And I was ready to quit and just say, you know what, I'm just going to collect a check for the next 8 years until I can retire and get out of here. So, but at that time, I had already connected with several people, one of them being Doug Johnson. Do y'all know Doug Johnson? He writes the Blue Skunk blog. He's really an amazing person. I connected with him, several other people on Twitter, and I emailed them. About 5 different people, I emailed them about 10 o'clock at night, and I just laid it out. I said, I feel so inadequate. I can't even begin to measure up to these other people. I think this is just not for me. I'm just going to collect a paycheck and retire and get on out. And I went to bed thinking, nobody's going to respond to me. These are superstars, you know. Leslie Fisher, I wrote to her. Kathy Schrock, I wrote to her. There were several people I wrote to. And I thought, they're superstars. They're never going to even, I mean, who am I? I'm nobody. Obviously, I'm nobody. I've seen what these people are doing, and I'm not even coming close to that. And I thought I had a good library until I started connecting, and then I was like, I'm crap. And so, you know, I woke up the next day to get ready for school about 5 o'clock in the morning, just opened up my email to see, and every single one of those people had written back to me. Every single one. And they said, you can do this. Don't do that to the kids. They need you to connect. They need you to do better. And keep going. I've got your back. If you need help, I'm here for you. And every single one of them have been there for me. Anytime I've reached out, they've been there. I got the chance in Connecticut this past year to actually hang out with Doug almost every single day during the conference, go out to dinner with him and do things. And he literally saved my life. And he saved my kids' lives because they got a better librarian out of it. Because I was willing to hang on and do what I can do. And no, I'm never going to be a Jennifer Lagarde or a Shannon Miller or Gwyneth Jones, but you know what? That's okay because I'm me. And you don't have to be any of those people either because it's okay because you're you. And you have something amazing to offer to the world. You're just not letting anybody know what it is. And so what we need you to do is start telling your story, speaking up and sharing with the world what it is that you're doing. Even if you think it's ordinary, to somebody else it's not ordinary. It's amazing. And so start doing those things. And when you read something on someone's blog and you say, that's a really good thing, I want to do that in my library, and you do it, tell about it, and then tell who you got the idea from. And give them the credit for giving you the idea. That's a really great thing, and you learn and grow from there. And don't think you can change your entire library program overnight, but you can try something new with one class one day, and then add on something else new another day. And so just take it one step at a time, one bite at a time. And then connect. Get to know this community. This TL community right here, they're fantastic. And I thought, oh, I could never talk to Jennifer Lagarde. I could never talk to Shannon Miller. I could never talk to Gwyneth Jones because they're up here on this plane. But everybody in this community is very friendly, very personable. They will help you with anything. They will talk back to you. They will, when they see you in person, they will give you the biggest squeeze and biggest hug. And they're right there, and they're your best friend. I've gotten more support from this group than anywhere. So definitely plug into this. TL Virtual Cafe. It starts in September, starts back in September. We take the summer off. This is a free webinar every month, the first Monday of each month at 7 p.m. Central Time. The back to school special is what's in September. I think September 8th is the first one. Then the second Monday of each month is the TL chat on Twitter. We do a vote where you have like 4 or 5 different topics to choose from. Whatever gets the highest vote, then for that 1 hour on Twitter, we talk just about that one topic. Okay? And so that makes it real easy to follow. So if you're not familiar with Twitter, guys, Twitter is the thing for professional development. It is the professional development tool. I had somebody in a session before say, well, I've got all these other things I had to do. I've got Facebook, and I've this and this and this and this. Throw away everything else. Twitter is your professional development channel. It's where I've learned more than anything I've ever learned from anything else in 23 years of education. I've learned more on Twitter than in 23 years of education. TL News Night is 1 year old. It starts back, it's the third Monday of each night, And it's kind of really cool. It's a great collaboration. I had Michelle Cooper, who's in Texas, a Texas librarian, called me, and she goes, I want to start up something kind of like a news show or a TV thing. And I was like, okay, let's brainstorm. And we brainstormed, and then we brought in a bunch of other people. And so now we have 6 anchors from all over the United States. And what we do the 3rd Monday of each month for an hour is we bring on a school library association to talk about a hot topic in libraries. So our first guest was New York Librarians, and they talked about that they have, over 1,000 schools and only 300 librarians in New York, and they were talking about that. And so for about 25 minutes we talked about that hot topic subject. Washington State was having librarians just slash left and right. Vermont was having librarians slash left and right. We had each of those states on our show 2 or 3 months after they were on our show. I'm not saying it was our show, but after that they started getting funding for their libraries. They started getting more library positions. They started getting money for their libraries. So it's a combination of getting the news out there, shaming your legislators publicly and nationally, that, you know, gets the job done. It's that squeaky wheel, and it's getting our story out. And kind of our motto here for TL Newsnight is, we're the media now. We're going to tell our story, because if we don't tell our story, it's the people who don't know crap about what we do who's going to tell our story. And we've got to get out there and tell our story. So make sure to look into those. And it decided not to click anymore. I think I cried on it and it got shorted out. So Tommy Bice, you know, however you feel about him, he said, I have permission to break the rules. I've been breaking the rules all along, you know, getting in trouble for it. I worked in a school district that just didn't appreciate anything I had to say because they weren't there. And as you start to connect and you realize I can do things better, if the rest of the school isn't doing things better and they don't want to do things better, they're not going to like you too much, you know? And I left. I left my tenure behind, and I went to Auburn. I had been in that school district from 97 until 2010, and I left because they didn't have the vision I had. I got to Auburn because I thought they had a vision. But I left there because it was an Emperor's New Clothes story. To the rest of the world, it looked really nice. But when I got in there, I was like, he has no clothes. You know, and I was calling it out. He has no clothes. And then I got into a school where, you know, they did have clothes. And and they were actually doing what they were saying they were doing. And then, you know, I got married and moved and whatever. And so now I'm in this position where I get to help launch a one-to-one program. But more than anything else, down at the heart of it, the root of it, what everyone told me when I was ready to give up is it's not about us. It's not about the teachers. It's not about the principal. It's not about how we look to the world. It's about empowering these kids to be masters of their own learning and helping them to do that. And how are we going to do that? How are we going to connect them globally? How are we going to take them beyond a worksheet of, here's the books, put them in Dewey order on the worksheet, you know? We've got to go beyond that. We've got to connect them and do things like what Andy's doing in his library, real relevant research. Why do we need to know this? How are we connecting with the world? How is it global? So this would be playing the Star Trek theme at the beginning of Star Trek, you know. And then I would say, so my challenge to you, libraries, the Learning Commons. This is the challenge for the librarians of Lauderdale County. Its school year mission: to establish positive school interactions, seek out student empowering activities, and new professional collaborations. And the woo! And I am always on Twitter. You can always get me. I have my Twitter account hooked up so that if you tweet me using my Twitter name, it'll send me a text message. And that way I can get back to you in a timely manner if you have any questions or what to do. I hope this is giving you a little bit of an idea of what to do where to go with this school year. Go out, investigate those pages, especially Andy Fleming's school page, and see some of the projects that he's done. But then also connect with those other librarians that are on Twitter. And then connect your, start connecting your teachers. We've got to be the ones who lead PD in our schools, guys. So I know you were saying you didn't like speaking in front of a group. Guys, I have severe social anxiety. I take medication for my social anxiety, but I force myself to get up and talk because I know it's important. I know that it's important to get the message out. You know, I'll go home and fall apart tonight, but that's okay. The little wine, it takes care of all that. Oh my God, that my cats are. Come here, cats. Mama needs some loving. They hate me. And so this is all being recorded right now using Google Hangouts. Super easy and fast to set up. One thing I make sure that I do for my TD, and again, guys, we should be the PD leaders. Why is this? Oh. Is it? There we go. I'm trying to stop broadcasting to the world. Let's see, did it close it out? Okay.